Hello friends, this is Trillion Dollar Silver back for another video, and today we will be talking about the Treasury yield curve rates from 1990 to present day. So this graph may look a bit overwhelming at first, but it's not as bad as it looks because all these are lined up here by the length of the Treasury bond, and 1 month is at the bottom, 30 years at the top. Anywhere where you see a line going straight up or down, that is where a bond was either taken offline or added online. And it's possibly important to note that in late 2001, the 1 month Treasury bond was added to the list of Ponzi products that you can buy from the Treasury. So here we are looking at the most recent couple smashes. This is the one after 9/11. Interest rates were smashed, and when they are smashed, the spread between them grows. So you can see how wide the spread is here, and it would appear as though the spread is the widest at this point in time, which would be equivalent to here, but this one is a little bit different behaving from the rest of these events. You can see that the trough at the bottom on the most recent interest rate drops is incredibly long. It's been more than 4 years. I'm working on 5 years that these have been smashed so low. And in this drop, it only lasted, well, the very bottom was only about 1 year, and this one was about the same, maybe a little bit longer. So something severely crazy is going on here. And when you look at these different patterns, you can tell that this pattern is very similar to that pattern. But so you can find that here's the lowest interest rate for all these different points. You can go and find it by, see, this is the 20-year because the 30-year was taken offline right here. But this is the lowest point on this 20-year, lowest point on the 10-year. So that's how you find the very bottom. And if you do that over here, you would likely find that the lowest points are right here. Going through all these are so smashed together you can't even tell. See, every single bond below the 7-year, so from 5-year all the way to 1 month, all of those are yielding less than 1% right now, which is crazy. And so it definitely looks like we're about to have some severe interest rate rises, and when it does rise, it consolidates like this, and so all the different rates will be at a certain height. Each time they try to smash it, they let it come up a little bit, but now they have nowhere else to go. They smashed all these. So look, you can see up to the purple, and even the 2-year. So these are just all smashed down here. When you are looking at these graphs, it is best to use the higher year bonds just to figure out like what's going on, because they show more, see this, that is the same thing that this thing did in the same time. So if you use the larger bonds as your indicator, seems that would be much better way to go. But it really definitely seems like we're about to have some type of interest rate rise and consolidation, similar to this event. But what's really going to happen depends on what happens to America. So basically, if we win World War III, then these are going to rise up to around here, consolidate, and then likely drop down below 0% yields until they go into a larger war and are crushed, almost certainly. Or these are just going to spike up to some ridiculous number like 28% or something, like possibly up to even 40% or higher. Just absurd interest rates, because these have been smashed down for decades and decades, and eventually they're going to have to revert past the long-term mean. So, you know, it's possible that bonds could go up to 50% yields, but then inflation could be crazy high at the same time. So either way, it's just a great idea to stay away from bonds. So I mean, these can't just stay down here like this forever. They have to rise at some point. And since the average interest rate is somewhere around 7% over the long term, this means that these rates are gonna rise past the average. They will overshoot the mean, and they could go to some absurd level like 40% rates. But, you know, by the time America might not even exist. So this is the silver price aligned with the 3-month bond, and I use the 3-month bond because it's just one of the smaller bonds, but the 1-month bond doesn't go back this far, so it was necessary to choose a different one. And here you can see this is the flatlining of the American economy right here. This is completely unnatural, totally unsustainable, and the lower interest rates are what are part of the cause of why the silver price is rising, but it's a delayed type of effect. So these prices are rising likely because of things that the Fed did back here, like that this lower little drop here could have caused this rise. But it definitely takes a few years to get, well no, that's too far back. I thought that was 2001. Maybe, yeah, this one could have caused this rise, and then this could cause that. But what is this gonna cause? Probably some boom straight up there. It's definitely going to the sky. And you know, so this is interest rates are low. It means it's a very good time to borrow money if you know where to put it. And the silver price is low as well. So that's pretty simple. You can borrow some money and buy some silver. I honestly suggest that to be done, as long as you are very financially responsible and you don't go crazy buying a bunch of Chinese slave goods. It should be a great idea to get a credit card and buy silver right now. But if you don't have any control over your spending habits, that's a terrible idea. So, yep, interest rates have flatlined, and the American economy will be going with it. If you guys enjoyed this video, please share and like. Also, don't forget to check out $1,000,000silver.com. Take care.